What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, before I get into this video, I want to remind you guys, as always, that if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to Too Raw for TV. If you haven't hit the notification button, please hit that notification button so that you'll be notified of any and every video that drops on my channel as soon as it drops. And if you haven't hit that like button, please hit that like button if you like or at least appreciate the content on this channel. These are the actions that will help not only my channel, but other channels in the Lions Den basketball community, the LDBC, be that much stronger. If you support Too Raw for TV, if you choose to, you can donate to this channel either through the PayPal or the Cash App, if you choose to. And if you support Too Raw for TV, I strongly urge for you guys to sign up to the Patreon because YouTube has some things going on now where they may be deleting channels en masse because of a lawsuit that they recently lost, and they're trying to recoup some money. And I think what they're going to do is try to get rid of some of these smaller channels, which include us, to cut some of their losses. All right, YouTube is on some bullshit right now. So if you support Too Raw for TV, man, a lot of you guys might want to come over to the Patreon. It's only $2 per month. All right, only $2, not $2 per video, $2 for the entire month. All right, so that's pretty much that, man. But I want to do a video talking about, hopefully they don't take down my channel, but it's a possibility. But anyway, I want to talk about Carmelo Anthony, and I haven't talked about him since the news broke that he was signed with the Portland Trail Blazers. And I just want to talk about him again right quick. He's played 2 games. I think tonight they play against the Cleveland Cavaliers, but in the first game that he played for them, he didn't play that particularly well. But that's to be expected for a guy that's been out of the league for over a year. So I think he had like 10 points. I think he shot like maybe 4-14 or something like that from the floor. You know, like I said, it was his first game back. I remember when Michael Jordan came back, man, after a 17-month layoff. And this is a guy that was noted for shooting 50% from the floor plus for his career. He came back and shot 9 of 28 against the Pacers. So it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while for Carmelo. He might be a little bit more spotty right now, a little bit more streaky, but he'll get there. And anyway, Carmelo's never been noted as the most efficient guy. His field goal percentage has always been about 45% to 46%. So he tends to miss some more shots than he makes anyway. So you don't judge him by his field goal percentage. You judge him more on if he's somewhat efficient, but more so on how he looks out there. You know, is he moving well? Is he still able to get his shot off, effectively? Is he able to create separation? Is he able to just basically things like that? You know what I'm saying? And so far, Carmelo's looked pretty good. Now they've lost both games. They played Cleveland, so hopefully they can get a victory there. But one thing I am concerned about, Say Less, shout out to Say Less too. If you're not subscribed to Say Less TV, please subscribe to Say Less. Say Less said this in his video. The narrative out there is that Carmelo Anthony is a loser and that he hurts teams. And you see that by things that the media do. Like he mentioned them showing him missed shots. They did it with Russell Westbrook, and they did it with Carmelo Anthony. I was talking about he doesn't help teams, and he doesn't play defense, which really is code for he's lazy. They did that with DeMarcus Cousins. And we all know that coming into, like, before they signed him, that Portland was already having problems. They were losing, all right? They had lost like 6 games in a row or something like that, or 6 out of 7 games, and they looked terrible. So that's not Carmelo Anthony's fault. It wasn't Carmelo Anthony's fault in his short stint with the Thunder, and it damn sure wasn't his fault with the Rockets after 10 games. He was a scapegoat. And for a while, Carmelo was indeed whiteballed by the NBA. So kudos for the Portland Trailblazers for giving him a shot. And I think that he'll look better this season. I think he'll look a lot better this season than he has the last couple of seasons because I think he's with a franchise and a system that's more suited for his considerable abilities. And that's another thing I want to talk about. Now, if you follow my channel for any number of years, you know I'm not a huge Carmelo Anthony fan. In fact, I've made some videos but downright terrible on Carmelo Anthony. Um, but at the same time, if you think that Carmelo Anthony is a guy who cannot help a team, then in the right role, then I don't know I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? I really don't know what you're looking at. Carmelo Anthony for his career averages 24 points per game. In some ways, he's like the modern day Bernard King, and his 24 points per game is comparable to guys like I've said this before in a couple of videos. His scoring average is comparable to guys like Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Rick Barry, uh, Adrian Dantley. It's higher than guys like Alex English, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, and the list goes on and on. He's an all-time great scorer, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. One thing that gets forgotten about Carmelo Anthony, and I'm old enough to remember this, 78 Sports TV is old enough to remember this, Ticket TV is old enough to remember this, Bruce Blitz is old enough to remember, he's older than all of us. Say Less probably doesn't remember this, but I remember back in 2003 when these guys were first drafted. The narrative for a while was, would Carmelo have a more successful career because, number one, he's going to the Denver Nuggets. Not that they were, world beaters, but historically, the Denver Nuggets, by that time, had better teams than the Cleveland Cavaliers since the Mark Price, Brad Daugherty years. They had been a pretty bad franchise for a while. That was the Ricky Davis years. They weren't really good. And yeah, I remember Carmelo had just led Syracuse to a national championship. I think he averaged like uh, 24 points or something like that, 25 and 10 throughout the tournament, excuse me, to win the title. So the narrative was he's already proven he's a winner. He's already had college experience. Carmelo Anthony has shown he can lead a team to a championship. LeBron, even though he's a great all-around player, can he do that? Can he turn around this franchise? I remember all these arguments. And of course, there's the greatest woulda, coulda with Carmelo. What if the Detroit Pistons, that they should have had done, chosen Carmelo Anthony instead of Darko Milicic? I'm almost certain that the Pistons would have won a title in 2003, 2004, as they did in real life with Carmelo. But they also probably would have additionally won a title in 2005. All right. Remember, they lost in 7 games to the Spurs that year. I think with Carmelo Anthony, they would have won a championship. They won back-to-back titles. And if memory serves me correctly, I think it was 2005, 2006. I think that's the year they went 64 and 18, but got upset in the playoffs. I think if you have Carmelo Anthony on that team, they might have flirted with 70 wins. And I think they would have won 3 championships in a row. And you'd be looking at Carmelo Anthony in a totally different light than we do now. Even though we think that he's an all-time great player and a 50 greatest player, or at least damn near a 50 greatest player. I think if that had happened, then I think Carmelo would be looked at as more of a top 20, 25 player. All right. So Carmelo Anthony definitely deserves a lot more respect than what he's getting from the media and from a lot of fans out there. There's also this perception that Carmelo's playing in a league that is no longer suited for him, that he's not fit for these times. And it kind of reminds me of a quote that Calvin Coolidge made shortly before his death when he was seeing how the country was changing. He said that I no longer feel that I'm fit for these times. And then pointedly, he died later afterward. But the reason why he said that is because, Calvin Coolidge, our 30th president, was president during the roaring 1920s, which is seen as the height of conservatism for America. He's the last American president who didn't have a telephone at his desk. Like I said, this was a period of time of great economic prosperity, but this was the greatest period of time for big business and capitalism. All right. Ronald Reagan's favorite president was Calvin Coolidge. All right. Calvin Coolidge came from old age Protestant Yankee Republican uh, cloth. Okay. Contrast that to 1932, 1933, when FDR was coming of age, and many people saw FDR as a socialist. The government's going to solve all of your problems, and that's how we got the birth of Social Security and Medicare and all these different programs, these entitlement programs that people uh, have now. These safety net programs, even though people say they don't like socialism. But anyway, I brought that up to make a comparison analogy with Carmelo Anthony. But I do think that Carmelo Anthony still could be effective in today's basketball, today's league, even though there is a predication on the 3-point shot. All right. As we saw in the playoffs last year, there's still a lot of room for the mid range game. And we saw how effective it was with the run that Kawhi Leonard had, how effective it still was for a guy to have a mid range shot in the NBA. And Carmelo is the king of the mid range jumper. And let's not forget that it's not like he can't shoot threes. It's not like he's Russell Westbrook. He's a career 35% 3-point shooter. And this year so far, even though it's a small sample size, he's shooting over 6% from 3-point range. So Carmelo has definitely worked on that aspect of his game. Um, Carmelo Anthony has also shown in the past that he could be a very effective stretch four if need be. So don't get it twisted. He can be very effective with this in this league. I don't really even see the difference between his percentage. I'm not saying that he's James Harden, but I don't really see a big difference in the percentages between Carmelo and James Harden. Like, let me look at something right quick. James Harden is like what 36% career 3-point shooter. That's not that big a difference between him and Carmelo. Look at Carmelo right quick. All right, now earlier in his career, Carmelo was not a great 3-point shooter. 32%, 27%, 24%, 27, and then he sort of got better. 35, 37, 32, 38, 33. Then he had one year where he shot 42%, 34%. The year where he played a stretch four, 38%, and then 40%. 34, 34, 36, 36, 33, and right now he's at 63%. So he's 34.8%, went up a little tick. So, like I said, he's had 2 seasons where he shot 40% from three. James Harden has never shot 40% from three. So I don't understand this narrative that he couldn't be effective in today's league when he's shot over 40% from 3-point range, the true 3-point range, in his career. All right, and if you take away the first 4 years of his career when he wasn't really noted for being a 3-point shooter, if you take away those first 4 years, right, and you go from 2007 through now, Carmelo's 3-point percentage goes from 34.8% to 36%. which is comparable to what James Harden shoots. So why is James Harden all this long distance marksman, but Carmelo is not? That's why you can't always listen to these guys on television. You have to do your own research because these guys have agendas. But at the end of the day, Carmelo Anthony, I think, will be fine. I think he's on a team where his skill set is better fit. All right, and he's going to help Portland with the big problem that they have as far as losing a lot of pieces with their bench. And I'm not saying Portland could win the title, but I think that Carmelo Anthony is going to be I think he's going to be a big asset to this team, especially when everybody gets healthy. All right, so that's pretty much all I got to say in this video. Trying to think of anything else I want to say. Um, Carmelo Anthony, I think, is only 30 something points away from passing Alex English. Alex English, who many people feel is the greatest Denver Nugget. It's close between him and Carmelo Anthony as the greatest Denver Nuggets of all time. I think you have to give the nod a little bit, just a little bit, to English because I think he played a little bit more of his career with the Denver Nuggets than Carmelo. But they're number one and number two all time as far as greatness with the Nuggets organization. But Carmelo's like at 25,580 something points or something in that range. And Alex English had 25,613 points. It's buried in my head. So he's close to surpassing English in points. And he's going to do it in far fewer games. So I'm going to do a video on that when he passes him. And if he has a big game tonight, he might do it tonight. But, I'll give it at least 2 games, but you never know. But tell me what you guys think, man.